When the hood release cable broke at the latch at this end, I managed to unbolt it by lifting up on the grill and going through with funny angles, because if this piece wasn't in the way, it would be nice and easy to attach to the latch. But since that piece was in the way, I wasn't able to do that. So now I have the fun job of routing the new cable, which goes up here underneath behind the headlight and in behind the fender that way. So I think it might be easier if I just unbolt the headlight and remove it, or this light, whatever you want to call it, and remove it, because the headlights are down here. I'm going to remove that and then see if it gives me more access.
He's got the tools and he's got the tricks. Every little problem Bruce can fix. Like and subscribe, give Bruce a high five. Tune in each week to keep your hopes alive. Click that button, let's make it thrive. Fix it with Bruce, man, it's a vibe.
I'm gonna have to replace this battery in this drill, but for now it'll do. I'll take these bolts out and see if that's all that's holding this light in, or if there's anything else holding it in. It appears that might be it, just clipped in. Oh no, there's one more down there, I think. I'll figure out if that bolt has anything to do with this light, and then we'll get this light out of the way and see if it gives us the access we need. Now here's the hood release that the cable attaches to, and underneath here there's a bolt that holds it in with a 10 mil. So what we're going to do is undo that bolt, and I'm guessing I might have to undo the one beside it as well. And take this whole assembly out, but I'm gonna have to get under there and see what I'm doing, and I can't hold the camera and do that at the same time. So I'll be back in a second. It turns out that the bracket just pulls out, and the cable here just goes up in behind. It's hard to see because I don't have enough light, but the cable goes up in behind and goes through the firewall here, going out towards the engine compartment. Now, since the cable goes up in behind the fender and the train goes by and interrupts my video, it would probably be a lot easier if I didn't have the fender in the way, but I really don't want to have to take the fender off to change a hood release cable. What I've done is removed some of the clips from the inner fender liner, and you can see that the cable goes into the body there, and it'll pull through that rubber boot. So I'm going to try to just pull on that and pull it out of that rubber boot. So I've got it disconnected from the handle, and I guess it's getting stuck there, so I'm probably going to have to take off the rubber boot. Now that I've got it out, this is the rubber boot, and there's the end, and that's all that was holding it. So now I'm going to have to put the new cable through there and put it through and run the routing along up where this one goes. I got to find where it goes exactly and put it in up there. Now we can see that the new rubber boot comes with the new cable, and I'm guessing that that's approximately the right distance inside the car, but I can slide the boot up and down on the cable if I need to. I see the white dot here, comparable to the white dot there, and that tells me that's probably where the rubber boot should be. So now we'll put it in on that side and run the routing up to the other end and see how it goes. Now, looking at it from up inside the car, you can see where the new cable is. We've got to have it routed the proper way, so it's not going around the clutch. So it's got to come this side, like that, and then it comes up to the handle part. And then this end connects into the handle, which is very easy. And then we worry about the other end. Now up in here we can see where there's a clip that holds the cable to the car. I've basically just got to unclip that from the car, and then I should be able to pull the cable the rest of the way through from the top. Off. I've taken the boot off the cable. Now I'm just pulling the old cable up, and it's stuck on something, but I'm not sure what yet. So maybe I can find out from below. But there's the old cable. The new cable's got to go back in the same way. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. So now I've pulled the new cable up through that opening. I've just moved the light assembly out of the way because there's a place down here where it attaches and it's hard to get it undone from that. So somewhere back in there, that thing. So I left it in place and just kind of worked around it, but having it moved out of the way a little bit like this is helping me a lot. Now this cable moves underneath this plastic piece, and the easy way would be to root it, just lift the plastic up and put it underneath. But since I can reach under, I'm probably just going to feed it through and then grab it with my hand on this side and pull it in the rest of the way. Now, ever since I took this out a couple of days ago when I had to order the new cable and had to wait for it for a few days, I soaked it in penetrating oil to lube it all up good so everything's going to work well. Figured, well, I had it out, I might as well. And now that's going to go there, but before it goes in, I'm going to hook up the new cable. Okay, now I was able to route the cable underneath here, but I thought just to show you what I did better, it would be better if I unclipped the grill and it clips in underneath. So what I was able to do before was just kind of go in from here and unclip the bottom clips, and then the grill assembly will come out and you can get a better idea of what I've got to work with here. So I put the bolts back in the holes just to make sure I wouldn't lose them. Now this goes back on like this, and this little thing here, which is, I believe, the temperature sensor that tells what the outside temperature is, goes in there. So I'm going to put these bolts in just a couple of turns to hold everything in place. And try to find the fourth bolt that I lost when I undid this down here. Now, if you look here, you can see a circle which corresponds to the washer, and that tells you roughly where the latch has to be, so that you know when you tighten it up, it'll be down here, and that'll be lined up roughly with where it was. So when you tighten it, try to line it up with the circle that was there before. Okay, I was able to find the other bolt where it fell, so I didn't have to replace it with a different bolt. Turns out I didn't have to undo this bolt to get the latch out, but I was kind of going blind, like going at it blind, because I had the grill, I couldn't get at these clips to take the grill out from the top, so I just had the bottom pulled out and went through behind here this way with an extension and a swivel socket to get these bolts out, and likewise from the other side to get that bolt out, because there's no way to get at it straight through without damaging the grill itself. I got a tiny little crack in the grill down here, but nobody's going to notice that except me. So now I can just tighten these bolts. And since this takes forever, I will come back to it once I've got them all tight. Now I did this just to show you how I got the grill, the latch out, and that's how I ended up breaking this, because I had to pry it out from under here, go in with extensions through there like that, and a swivel, and tighten them, like undo the bolt this way. Luckily, now that we've got everything back together, I can just go in straight and don't need that, I need that. I can just go in straight like that and tighten them. Now that we've got everything off, I can just do it like this with the drill. Use the right bit, and we'll just tighten it this way, and you can see what I was saying about making it line up with the circles on the latch. Now that should be pretty close to lined up, which we'll find out when we close the hood. But first we have to attach the cable on the inside of the car. So now we got to get this cable end into this little hole, and it goes in and then turns to lock in. And now I've got this metal end into the handle part. This part has to clip into this groove here, like that. And then this flips over and pulls up, and this part goes into this little groove up here that I don't know if you can see. And then the two bolts go in underneath here. These two bolts right here. 1 and 2. And that should work. Now once I get them tight, I'm just going to put them finger tight for now. And then we're going to try the handle and see if it seems like it has any tension on it, like it'll do what it's supposed to do. Okay, yes, it does seem like it's pulling. Okay, now what we're going to do is see if that cable will pull anything in here, and you can see down inside here that it is pulling. So we're going to trip the latch by putting a screwdriver in here and pushing down. And this one's pretty stiff. And what this is going to do is simulate the hood latching onto it. Now it's kind of hard. I'm going to need both hands, so I'll come back once I've got that pushed down. Okay, now I've got it latched, so we're going to pull the cable on the inside and it should release the latch. And it did. So now that will work. Now we can close the hood, but before before we close the hood, we can't have it closing and damaging this light, so we've got to put that light back in place like that. Because as you may remember, I didn't take it all the way out because I couldn't get at that one clip. So I'm just putting it back into place, and then I'll just tighten these two bolts. That's all I've undone. And now the hood should shut. And if I go in here and pull the release, nothing happens. I'm just kidding. It works fine. So we know that it holds well and it's lined up well. Gaps are good, so we're good. We can put it all back together now and put the grill back in. Okay, now we just have to put the grill back on. These clips here go into these two holes here, and these little clips go into these holes here. So we line that up and then slide it back in. This one goes under that little rubber, and on this side the rubber thingy came off, so I can put the rubber back in afterwards, and then we just put the clips in. And these clips have been replaced before, so some of them aren't the same as each other. But that goes in, and then that pushes down. The center part lifts up on this style of a clip. The clip goes into the hole, and then that pushes down to lock it in place. And you just repeat it for the others. And that one's broken, so I will have to replace that one later, but for now I'll just put it in there to fill the hole. And there's one missing, but there was one missing before, so I'm not too worried about it. Now the only thing left to do is put the side trim back on here, but some of these clips chose to stay attached to the car instead of to the plastic trim, so we're going to pop them out so that we can put them in. Whoops, not supposed to break them like that. I'll have to replace that one, but they're supposed to go in, and then that holds the trim piece on the side. Now the way they attach here is they just go into this little groove like this, and that holds them in place. So This will just go into place. These clips have to go into these holes, and they clip in, and then these clips clip in like that, and then we go to here. Now on this part right here, these are just regular clips, like a push-in style clip that goes like that and pushes in. Some of them are hard to push in. Maybe that's not the right clip for there. But the one I wanted to show you that's different is down here at the bottom. If we come around here with the camera, we can see this bottom hole. This is actually a small Phillips screwdriver. That's fine. Okay, now you use your little tiny screwdriver and you get it in, but it's hard to find out exactly where that hole goes. So you got to kind of wiggle around until you know the end's in the hole, and then tighten it up. Now, last clip going in, and you put this part in there like that. But sometimes they put up a fight, so you got to persuade them a little bit, and then that's in, and that's on good and solid. And now everything is back together. I'll just lower the bar and lower the hood, and it's all done. And my finger was in front of the damn thing, but that's okay, you got the idea.